What is going on, investing bros? Tis I, T Shroom, here for another extremely interesting episode. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of interoperability coins and taking a close examination of Wormhole. So Wormhole could be a new opportunity for the bros and for anybody interested in investing in cryptocurrency. If you're joining us for the first time here on Investing Bros, make sure that you subscribe and leave a like button smash. It would be greatly appreciated. We would really enjoy having you as part of our community. We have a Discord, lots of Twitter accounts, and we go live twice a day, 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Taking a look at the crypto bubbles here, you can see Wormhole down 10%. You want to buy low and sell high. So I figured I won't talk about it while it's high. I'll talk about it while it's low, while it's actually a decent idea from a technical standpoint and a technical standpoint alone to buy an asset. So we'll get into this. We'll get into the details of Wormhole and if it's potentially the new king of interoperability. We'll get into that on the other side of a little bit of crypto news here. We'll start off with the Bitcoin charts. As you can see, have not been able to get back up above this uptrending line of what was support but has now flipped as resistance. Have not been able to get up above that or the midline of the Bollinger Band here on the daily chart for Bitcoin, the indisputed king of crypto. So that's, not great. It just really means that we're going to have probably a little bit more sideways movement right here into the rest of the week. But what we've been seeing is that Bitcoin will go ahead and start rallying Sunday evening and then into Monday. So, we may be able to get back above with that early week rally, get back up above some of these key levels or not. It's also possible that we continue to test lower to the downside. We'll be talking much more about the charts at the 3 p.m. stream today. We had Caleb Franzen on yesterday. We will be having only Tim Warren on. It's only going to be Tim and T-Shroom, but it's going to be a lot of fun because you'll be joining us as well. And you make it just about as fun as it can be. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching Tim on your iPhone, on your Android, on your kid's iPad. Maybe all of your devices are dead, so you got to resort to the kid's iPad with the foam case on it in case you drop it. All right, let's go ahead and jump on in here to a big story that I wanted to cover yesterday. Was kind of all over the news, but I wanted to make sure that I could really represent it well. That's this. ARK Invest 21 shares Bitcoin spot ETF surpasses Grayscale's GBTC in outflows for the first time. Now, T-Shroom, what about Wormhole? Where's the Wormhole? Where's the interoperability? Who's the king? Am I the king? Am I the duke? We'll get to that in just a second. Just bear with me. This is important news. Inflows into the ETF for Bitcoin have slowed, right? And there's no better place to kind of track this than Dune.com. I will drop the link in the Discord today, so you guys can go jump in there and grab that. For the first time, you've seen outflows from 21 shares. Now, if you zoom in real close, I was almost going to say you've seen outflows for the first time from something other than Grayscale. And guys, if you're new to crypto, I'm probably talking over your head right now. This is important, though. Try to catch along. You're only going to be able to understand a fraction of it, but that bit that you do understand, hold on to it. Let it marinate. Think about it. All right, for bros who knows, let's take a look. So I almost said that it was the first time that a non-Grayscale ETF had outflows, but that's not true. You can see the tips of some of these down histograms have included Invesco. Here, this was light blue. This would have been Van Eyck. But for the first time, you've seen a pretty significant piece of the outflow bar represented, and that's 21 shares, and that's what this headline reads, right? ARK 21 shares. So what's happening? Well, of course, I don't know. But one of the folks out there in the cryptoverse did a little bit more research on this and found that indeed it was not 21 shares or Kathy Woods, ARK Invest, that went ahead and pulled the trigger on the sell button for their own shares. So outside of that, we don't know because largely investing in ETFs is anonymous. But if you are a publicly traded company, you have to divulge if you have bought or sold certain classes of assets. Looking at the net, right? This is the net outflows and inflows. You can see that we had yet another day of very, very minor, but another day of outflows yesterday for these ETFs. Now, that is likely to not have too big of an effect on Bitcoin in the long term, but in the short term, this kind of takes the wind out of the sails for buyers, right? And so that's why we're not seeing quite as swift as a recovery here as we saw back here, right? One daily candle to the downside, about 10%, call it, right? And then right immediately the next day, 10% to the upside, and then you get a slow retrace, but not coming down as low as that initial red candle, right? So that was historic. That was historically when you had tons and tons and tons of inflows coming in here all through this body, right? We're not getting that quick and swift recovery quite yet. Now, will we get a recovery? I think we absolutely will get a recovery, a quite nice one here on Bitcoin. But I think that what the consensus is starting to be that we weren't anticipating is that we wouldn't be above 70,000 before the halving. So April 20th, 420, baby, blaze it. We may not have a $70,000 Bitcoin. Is that the end of the world? No. Honestly, it's just a number. Who cares? Bitcoin is worth $70,000. That's like 2 brand new Toyota Camrys right there, all symbolized with one digital asset. It's amazing, the world we are trotting into. What else is amazing here is what you all have done on the Investing Bros. We are now essentially getting 100 new subscribers every single day. Of course, yesterday we hit 11K subscribers. That was super awesome. And now we're getting about 100 new subscribers today. So by this time tomorrow, this should be 11.2. Now let's get into Wormhole. Let's get into Wormhole. What is it about? What can we know about it? What do we know about it? Well, so far, we've taken a look here at Wormhole on just the crypto bubbles. It's down now 11%, so actually continuing to see a decline as I'm reporting on it here as we're doing this episode. You may be watching this pretty far in the future. You've come across Wormhole, and you're like, well, what about Wormhole? What about the sell-off? What about whatever? More than likely, you're seeing a chart. If you're watching it from the future, you're seeing a chart that is much different from this one here. But this is what we have to work with today. And this is just a few hours into Wormhole even being chartable, right? So taking a look here, you can see that Wormhole has had a huge green candlestick back here, and this was just gigantic, 548% since April 23rd on the KuCoin exchange. However, there's been a slow decline since then. Okay, but that's when you want to buy, right? You want to buy while the frenzy is kind of over. But that's from a technical standpoint only, right? And especially when there's not that much data here, you don't want to be making your decision, your investing or trading decisions based on trading data, on chart data alone, especially when there's a very, very, very little amount of data. What do? You look at the fundies, the fundamentals. Should you invest in Wormhole? Will Wormhole reach $10? So I don't care as much about this last question because who knows? That's too early to start speculating on the price predictions here. But Wormhole is a communication protocol that facilitates the transfer of assets and data between different blockchains. This means you could potentially send Ethereum to Solana blockchain or transfer NFTs between blockchains that would otherwise be incompatible. Cross-chain technology like Wormhole is considered vital for the development of a truly interoperable Web3 ecosystem. And there's that word, interoperable. If you haven't heard it before, what does it mean? What is interoperability? Well, there's an entire category here in CoinMarketCap that covers interoperability, right? So what is it? Well, interoperability is essentially chains working together. And, this is important. It's important to the crypto ecosystem because at the beginning of crypto, folks were thinking that there would be just a race of chains. Well, in the last bull run, there's actually been a decent amount of really smart crypto developers and blockchain developers who were thinking, actually, what if we started to have these chains communicate with each other? And that's where these guys come in, right? That's where all these chains come in that are at least listed here by CoinMarketCap.com. So you have Internet Computer, you have Cosmos or Atom, you have Quant, BitTorrent, Accelerator, Nervous Network. The list goes on and on and on. All of these projects claiming in their white paper, right, or submitting information on CoinMarketCap that they are looking to solve the interoperability problem, right? Not that it's so much a problem as much as it's an opportunity, right? So they're trying to cap it. Another way to say it, and the positive is that these projects are all claiming that they're trying to capitalize or solve the interoperability opportunity. Okay. Now, one that's not in here, and I do not know why, is Polkadot. Polkadot is another big one, very big one, $12 billion coin, right? So this is a pretty big project. Then you have Cosmos and Internet Computer that are also pretty big. Cosmos 4 billion, right? So Wormhole right off the bat has some pretty steep competition, right? What is the market cap of Wormhole? 2 billion, right? So Wormhole has some pretty steep competition with market caps that are starting at double its market cap. So it's punching below its weight, right? But you want to buy low, you sell high, right? So overall, this is not an invalidation of whether or not Wormhole is a good investment. So far, it's just in a specific category of crypto, right? That a lot of success has occurred within, right? You've seen Atom, you've seen Polkadot. These are household names for households that talk crypto. And so these have been successful names. Internet Computer, more recently, has kind of splashed onto the mainstream as a big promising blockchain, maybe to compete with Ethereum one day. We'll see. But now Wormhole is kind of being thrown into this bucket of interoperability coins, and we shall see if it really is what it's all chalked up to be. So let's keep reading here this article, but that is what interoperability is. It is essentially coins working together, and as you can see, there's a lot of stiff competition. This is a little infographic of Cosmos and how it can connect, Compound with Bitcoin and Ethereum with Polkadot and all this and all that. See if I can find a little bit of a better infographic here. But I think you guys are kind of getting the point of what interoperability is. I think it says it pretty well in that article. The ability to send an NFT from Ethereum onto the Solana blockchain, right? To be honest with you guys, that's not something that I know exists right now. It might. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Does that exist? Can you send an Ethereum NFT, right, over to the Cardano or the Solana ecosystem and have it be on that? I don't know. But that seems to be what Wormhole is claiming to do. If that is the case, and that isn't already being done by Atom or by or Internet Computer or one of these interoperability chains, then this is a very big innovation, right? And that's kind of the alpha here. If that's true, if it can transfer NFTs and if it can transfer coins in between blockchains, and that's not being done, which I'm not claiming to know or not know, right? That is big. That is a big. Should be hearing your alpha bells should be ringing, right? When you hear that. Okay, but let's read on. So the airdrop and tokenomics. Wormhole airdropped a significant portion of the W token supply to early adopters, attracting much attention and its initial surge in value. That surge in value here best illustrated by this chart, right? Obviously a big surge in value. Big bid up from 24 cents on up to $1.13, where it trades now, but it wicked as high as $1.08. $1.80, which is almost $2, in case you guys didn't know that. So let's keep reading here though, because now I'm starting to think, well, could potentially the reason that it's in the top 100 now, Wormhole, could it potentially just be because of this huge airdrop? And what we know about airdrops is that they do make a big splash because a bunch of people get free money. Some people make a lot of money and they get rich off of airdrops. And so they're very highly motivated to then turn around and be a cheerleader. And, their pro crypto message, in this case, it'd be pro Wormhole airdrop message, careens around crypto social media. It ricochets far and wide. And everybody in the crypto world hears the name of this new coin that had a big airdrop. We saw this famously with Arbitrum, right? That came out, made a huge splash. It actually had some negative PR, but we remember it because there was PR in general. And Arbitrum, here to stay, right? It's a layer 2 for Ethereum, and it's done well with that airdrop being kind of its major debut, its major cameo here in the crypto world. Will the same thing be true for Wormhole is the question. Will it have the staying power to compete with the likes of Polkadot and Atom, or will it fall to the wayside? Well, let's keep looking here. because there's more to be considered. With this airdrop, I do think that it's probably getting disproportionate attention right now, disproportionate allocation right now. And I think a lot of that is due to the success it's had with the airdrop. But let's read further, because here are some risks that the article lists as well. And the biggest one is troubling. Smart contract risk. Wormhole's history includes a major $320 million exploit highlighting the vulnerabilities of even well-established DeFi projects. Okay, so this is one to consider. Now, is this a comprehensive biopsy of what's going on with Wormhole and its fumbling of $320 million? No. So we don't know what happened. We don't know if there was a third party that really was the one responsible for the vulnerability, or, if there could have been some insider corruption that allowed the vulnerability. We don't know. We don't know if that problem was Wormhole's problem, or if it was it solved and now that shouldn't be an issue anymore? We don't know, right? But there was a vulnerability, and to my knowledge, Atom and Polkadot have not had vulnerabilities and exploits of this level. So that's a pretty big tick against it. So weighing the pros, weighing the cons, you have a very big project, or a very big opportunity, interoperability, the ability to send an NFT from Ethereum to Solana and have it actually be there, right, would be a pretty big deal. That would be pretty awesome. Again, that may be being done. That is not something that I specialize in the knowledge of, but if it is novel, that is big, right? Now, if it isn't, and if they can't actually do it, that's obviously a big problem. A lot of projects are just running on promise. Hopefully, if you're thinking about investing in Wormhole, you're considering that, and you're doing the extra research to look into that. You should by now be like, well, T-Shroom, it seems like you're not filling in a lot of holes. It seems like you're kind of presenting all this, but you're leaving a lot of holes. Yes, I am. And if you're listening to YouTubers out there, if you're reading blogs, if you're, finding a cave where people are whispering about crypto and they're not leaving holes and they're giving you, hey, Wormhole's great and you should go buy it today. It's going to beat Polkadot and Atom within days and you'll be rich. Run. Run from the cave where the whisperings are being uttered. Run from the YouTube channel and swiftly unsubscribe, and burn the computer in which you have been reading these blogs, because you have been getting exposed to one-sided information, right? You want to be listening to people who are very forthcoming with their limitations, right? And I, as many humans, have limitations, even with my knowledge of crypto, which may seem to you to be vast. All of this to say, do your own research. I am presenting you the gaps of which I am not able to fill to you today. Then that is a huge benefit, right? What are those gaps? I'll review them. Is Wormhole actually able to do this? Have they done this? Meaning, have they transferred NFTs from Ethereum to Solana specifically, as this article states? Has that happened? Okay, that would be the first thing you'd want to look into. And then the other one would be, was that vulnerability, was that exploit the actual fault of Wormhole, or was there a third party, or was it their fault but they've fixed it, and the development community has kind of co-signed that is no longer a concern, right? So those are some gaps to consider for sure. Moving along, let's go ahead and also consider that the interoperability narrative, the category, is not yet to be fully realized in its price upside potential, okay? So we talk about this often. If you're joining for the first time, first of all, make sure that you go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe. But this is a chart that likely you have not seen before, okay? And this is a chart that is very important, and it illustrates the phases, the path to altcoin season. The path to altcoin season phase 4 is essentially where, and I'm not saying that these are all altcoin season, and that phase 4 is the fourth phase of altcoin seasons, right? Phase 4 is the altcoin season, and we are not there yet. Estimations are that this would come in the fall of 2024 through the mid, I think we decided early to mid-spring of 2025. Let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments, when do you think phase 4 altcoin season will come into play? But this is when Atom and Polkadot is kind of scheduled to have, if they're going to have like a 8 to 15x, this is probably around the time that's going to happen, right? If it starts to happen earlier, like in the case of Solana, and Chainlink, then that's great. Or if it happened last year, like in the case of Caspa, that's great, right? But as a whole, the huge slug of top market cap coins, known as altcoins, really should be happening in phase 3, right? Where they're large caps, the more known caps like Cardano perhaps, or others that are escaping my brain, AVAX, and then you would get the altcoins, which I would imagine that Wormhole would fall into to more of the altcoin, the alt season, right? So this is what you want to be looking out for. This is not going to be happening tomorrow, right? But it's important to get in early to these projects because they will likely see a lot of upside, not in the short term, but in probably around fall of 2024. Maybe that's a short term for your investment horizon, or mid to late spring of 2025. Let's go ahead and check in here on the chat and see what is cooking up in the minds of others, because I do have some limitations. So I want to see what others are talking about. Crux of Crypto throwing up the Ada Gang for the win. You gotta love it. Let's see what folks are saying about Wormhole and this awesome episode here where we're talking about interoperability. Average Crypto said, GM all, just opening my eyes. So it's got some folks just waking up. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Brutal said, wait for weak airdrop hands to sell and get in. Worked well for Jupiter and Pith. Okay, I like that. I like that. That's some alpha, and that's essentially what I would agree with that. Yeah, you definitely wouldn't have wanted to get in back here, right at the tippy top, right, which is very easy to get in because this is where everybody's screaming, I just bought Wormhole. Everybody's screaming that on Twitter. It's very easy to identify that and go buy it then. But where is everybody not screaming? Where are you not going to see headlines for Wormhole? If indeed you do that extra research and discover that it is a good project to invest in, you want to probably invest in it. Maybe get a little bit of exposure, right, by the end of the week, by the time you're done with your research, right? But I would say probably around 10% of the allocation that you're going to make into a coin like Wormhole would be made then. But then you want to wait, just as Brutal said, you want to wait for the weak hands that just received a ton of supply of Wormhole to go ahead and sell that so that they can pay for their rent, pay for a Lamborghini payment, pay for whatever they want, right? A bunch of alcohol for their friends to host a party for how rich they got off of Wormhole, whatever it's going to be. But you want to probably see this price come down a bit, right? I don't know. There's not enough data here to really draw out some lines. I mean, you could do Fibonacci. Do some Fibonacci T-Shroom. Come on. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even really seem to be obeying Fibonacci all that well, but you could potentially see it come out to like 80 cents, right? Maybe 80 cents, the golden pocket could be a decent spot to go ahead and think about getting an entry into Wormhole. But the reality is you're flying blind with a new coin like this, or with a coin that it has limited price data. Okay, so that's something that's important to keep in mind with Wormhole. I don't see a ton of other commentary on Wormhole. Drew P said, is it a pyramid scheme, or do these tokens actually not have any value because they were printed from thin air? Well, that is a more deeper question about crypto in general, and I think that some of them are completely valueless in terms of their value to society. And I think that some of them are some of the most significant developments in data storage, data transfer, value perpetuation that we've seen as a species. Your job as an investor is to try to figure out which ones are the real valuable ones. Bitcoin obviously seems to be emerging as one of those, with a very strong use case as a store of value. Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Chainlink, these all have pretty strong buy theses as well. And they're ones that you want to do some more research on too, but are much more known. Wormhole is like, who knows? It could be very valuable. It could be not valuable at all. We don't really know. It is pretty new. Going back to CoinMarketCap, sometimes there'll be a scarcity of data on TradingView, but then there'll be like a bunch of trading data. This has not been out very long at all. Okay, so April 3rd, this was literally yesterday, is how far back that this goes. So it may have been, in beta or something like this before April 3rd, but likely you are getting into a brand new project that likely there's been a lot of chatter around it. The white paper's been out for a while, this and that, but this is kind of uncharted territory, and especially if they have not actually transferred NFTs from one blockchain to another, I would be very hesitant to take this one very seriously. And then for the record, I'm not making an allocation into Wormhole at this time. It may emerge that this is the opportunity of a lifetime, and this is going to be the interoperability chain, and no, Atom and Polkadot could never copy the code right in the protocol that Wormhole built because their blockchain would be incompatible. If that's the case, there's a lot of value here, right? But more than likely, this $2 billion in market cap that we're seeing for Wormhole. Whoa, what the heck did it just zoom in on? That was weird. This $2 billion worth of, sorry guys, of market cap is probably going to get at least halved by exactly what was said by Brutal, right? It's lit. Oh, I see what it went. It went to Tim's screen. That's funny. Because of the weak hands that just got received an airdrop. It's not rocket science here. Let's see. Drew P said okay. So continuing that comment on crypto in general, let's wrap up the conversation here about Wormhole, and then I'll address that one. Drew P said, let it drop 50% in a few weeks. People will get tired of waiting for Moon when price doesn't keep climbing. Absolutely. And then they'll rotate into whatever, is popping off on the crypto bubbles that day, right? They see, oh, Core's down. I better rotate into that because that's gonna launch up. Or, ooh, I think I'm gonna try my luck in Bitcoin Cash. They're gonna sell their Wormhole, which is happening literally in real time, and they're gonna go buy ENA, the shiny new token, right? That's a great point there, Drew P. Per usual, not a surprise there. Drew P always bringing the alpha. Talking Wormhole specifically, yeah, agree. He also said 90% of new projects drop 90% within a month. Wow, there's a really good one. There's a really good comment there. All right, Drew P, we'll go ahead and indulge here on your bigger question about crypto. It's a pyramid scheme in the sense that developers and friends have a bunch, okay? They tell their friends to buy more, then they tell their friends to buy more, and so on, and it's a big, okay. Well, I mean, that's how investing works in general. I wouldn't say that is bad, right? And I definitely wouldn't call it a pyramid scheme, right? It's not a pyramid scheme is a very specific thing, and that's not what we're seeing here, I don't think. So, yeah, I mean, there's some projects that I think could be identified as a pyramid scheme, right? But we're just no, I don't think it is. I don't think there's many. I don't think that like 90% of projects are pyramid schemes. I think they're just bad investments, right? They're projects that have promise, but they're not really delivering. I guess in some sense, you could potentially make that argument. But overall, guys, Wormhole. Am I buying it? I'm not at this time. Now, there could be new information that comes out that proves to me some of these gaps that I've outlined for you all. Maybe you're watching this and you already bought Wormhole, and you're like, T-Shroom, I really wanted you to reinforce my purchase. I really wanted you to make me feel so good that I'm going to be a Lamborghini owner soon just from buying Wormhole. I'm not here to tell you that you are, right? I'm here to tell you that it's not, that it has steep competition, right? Just tell you the facts. It has steep competition here. There's a lot of other coins that are claiming to do interoperability. Now there's a chance that Wormhole's better, right? It's better than these, right? And it's just been very, very effectively keeping its secret sauce concealed from the development community, and now it's released, and all of these guys are going to go to zero. Of course, they have other use cases, so they wouldn't go to zero. But I think you guys see what I'm saying. Do your own research. Make sure that you know what you're doing if you're confident in the investments you're making. High conviction coins are the easiest to buy and trade and hold, more importantly, right? And if you do not own any crypto at all, right, and maybe you've not even traded stocks or owned stocks or anything like this, buy a little bit of Bitcoin, right, and just wait. Right now, you're in a very, very unique time where there's a lot of opportunity in crypto. People will be becoming very, very rich over the next 2 years from crypto in my opinion. But there's also a lot of new people who are getting into crypto who are going to get absolutely slaughtered. They're going to get wrecked. They're going to take a significant amount of money. Maybe that's 20,000, maybe that's 500,000 to you, and they're going to put it into crypto thinking they know what they're doing, and they're going to lose maybe all of it, right? And you don't want that to be you. So my advice to you, and it's not financial advice, it's awesome advice, is to buy a little bit of Bitcoin on an exchange like Coinbase or Robinhood or Uphold or something like this. Don't start getting into leverage trading. Don't start getting into anything crazy. Again, if you're a Forex trader for 30 years or whatever, you have an advantage in the trading world, obviously. You do whatever you want to do. But for complete noobs, someone who was just a civil engineer their whole life or a doctor their whole life and they're getting into crypto, buy a little Bitcoin. Watch the price action and just don't stop doing more research. Tune in to communities like the Investing Bros and others that are projecting trust and very grounded reporting on the ecosystem here of crypto, and continue to hodl that Bitcoin. I feel confident that you will not be disappointed in Bitcoin, but you're too early. You're too early to be dabbling in the altcoins and getting involved in something that probably could be, as Drew P put it, a pyramid scheme, but could be a scam. There are scams all over crypto. If you scroll down here on the coinmarketcap.com, now probably not in the top 200 or 300, right? But if you scroll down far enough, you will start to see basically 90% scams or 90% rug pulls or whatever it is, whatever you want to call them. But they're just not actually bringing any value to the world. In the top 100, there's a lot of potential projects that are going to be the next Google, the next Apple. Bitcoin, to me, seems to have already kind of crossed that line of proving that. Why do I think that? Well, because of the way that Wall Street has treated it. So, what made Amazon and Google and Apple? Wall Street, right? It crowned those names. Were there other companies that were trying to sell goods online? Were there other companies that were trying to make smart devices or make search engines? Absolutely. But it was Wall Street. And by Wall Street, I mean the emergent mind of global investors coming together and agreeing on not only the project that is best, but the price per share of that project. And there will be winners and there will be losers. It seems to me that Bitcoin has passed that Rubicon. Ethereum has a lot to prove this year. There's going to likely be the denial of a Ethereum spot ETF, and then there will likely be a giant court case where BlackRock and Grayscale and Fidelity and Bitwise go ahead and sue the SEC for being idiots. And that could result in a huge upside for Ethereum, but that is for another day. We cover all of these topics and more here on the Investing Bros, and we're really proud to do it. We love it. And do me a favor, if you've enjoyed this video, smash the like button. Yeah, that's right. We got a new smash emoji here. We love it. Animation, whatever you want to call it. And consider subscribing to the Investing Bros. It has been a real pleasure to dive deep into the world of Wormhole and kind of consider what could be going on here. If you have more questions, come into the Discord, join the bros. If you are thinking about this as an investment, I hope that you've gotten the value you need to make that decision. And you should absolutely be doing more research. And without further ado, I will go ahead and leave you all. This video has been brought to you by Decrypted.tax. If you traded or invested in crypto in 2023, you'll have to be paying taxes on that. Make sure you go to the pros to figure out how to do that at Decrypted.tax. It is the tax pros that Tim and I trust with our corporate and personal taxes. I'll see you at 3 p.m., bros.
Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.